The throne room reeked of desperation and expensive perfume, as dozens of unmated she-wolves circled Alpha King Theron like vultures around dying prey. Senna pressed herself deeper into the shadows behind the stone pillar, counting her breaths. The meditation technique was the only thing keeping her wolf Kaya from breaking through. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. Don't shift or he'll smell you. She repeated the mantra that had kept her alive for 2 months in the palace. Don't shift. Don't let Kaya surface. Don't let anyone catch your scent. Being a rejected Omega in the Crimson Mountain Pack's palace was dangerous enough. Being a rejected Omega whose true mate had cast her aside without even looking at her? That was a death sentence if anyone discovered the truth. Lady Morrigan, how lovely. Theron's deep voice carried across the hall, polite but distinctly cold. The blonde practically purred as she touched his arm, her emerald dress worth more than Senna would earn in 5 years. Senna scrubbed harder at the blood stain on the marble, a leftover from yesterday's challenge fight. Another dead alpha who thought he could take Theron's throne. Another reminder of how violent their world had become since the curse began spreading through the packs. 5 more hours, she muttered, dunking her rag in wolfsbane-laced water. 5 more hours until this gathering ends. The curse was why they were all here. For 6 months, wolves had been losing their ability to shift, becoming trapped in either form permanently. The oracle claimed only a true mate bond could break it, so every unmated female within 1,000 miles had descended upon the palace. Theron's head suddenly turned in her direction. Senna's heart stopped. Even from across the vast throne room, his unusual silver eyes seemed to pierce through shadows directly to her hiding spot. But that was impossible. She'd learned to suppress everything, her scent, her presence, even her breathing. 2 months of practice since the night of her rejection, when she'd fled her old pack and taken refuge here as a nameless servant. The rejection had happened at the Harvest Moon Festival. She'd been serving drinks when the mate bond had snapped into place like lightning. But Theron had been drunk, surrounded by beautiful she-wolves, and when his beta Raziel had asked if he'd felt anything strange, Theron had laughed and said, "I reject whatever cosmic joke the moon goddess thinks she's playing. I'll choose my own mate, not have one forced on me by fate." The words had shattered the bond before it fully formed, leaving her with a gaping wound in her soul that still hadn't healed. He'd rejected the concept of having a fated mate without ever knowing she existed. "Your Majesty." Beta Raziel approached the throne, his expression grave. "We have a situation." Senna watched Theron's jaw tighten imperceptibly. To everyone else, he probably looked perfectly composed, but she'd spent 2 months memorizing every micro-expression. Something was wrong. "Ladies," Theron addressed the room with that practiced smile that never reached his eyes. "Please excuse me." As he stood, Senna caught something else, a slight sway, his hand gripping the throne's armrest a fraction too long. Was he ill? "Who cares?" she told herself firmly. "He's not your problem." But Kaya whined inside her mind, sensing their mate's distress despite the broken bond. "Senna!" A sharp voice made her flinch. Vera, the head servant, stood over her with disgust. "You missed a spot." "Yes, ma'am," Senna mumbled, keeping her head down. "Pathetic," Vera sneered. "Can't shift, can barely clean. What kind of wolf can't even shift?" It was the lie Senna had told when she'd arrived, that she was cursed, trapped in human form. Better that than the truth. "The Alpha King's private study needs cleaning," Vera commanded. "Now! And if you disturb anything, you'll be thrown to the rogues." Senna's blood ran cold. Theron's study meant being surrounded by his scent, torture for her wolf, who still yearned for their mate despite everything. As she gathered her supplies, a commotion erupted near the throne. Theron had returned, but something was wrong. His face was pale, and Raziel was supporting his weight. "Interesting," a voice purred nearby. Lady Isolde from the Northern Peaks Pack stood watching, her eyes calculating. The mighty Alpha King doesn't look so mighty now. Before anyone could respond, Theron's knees buckled. He caught himself on Raziel, but his breathing was labored. "Your Majesty," Raziel urged quietly. "Perhaps we should—" "I'm fine," Theron growled, but his voice lacked power. He took a step forward and stumbled. That's when Senna smelled it. Nightshade and silver poison, masked under cologne but unmistakable to someone who'd grown up learning herbs from their grandmother. Someone had poisoned the Alpha King. Without thinking, she dropped her bucket. The crash echoed as dirty water spread across the marble. Every eye turned to her, including Theron's unfocused silver gaze. "You," he breathed, and for one terrifying moment she thought he recognized her. But then his eyes rolled back, and the Alpha King collapsed. Senna moved before her brain could stop her, catching him before his head hit the marble. His weight drove her to her knees, and suddenly she was cradling the most powerful wolf in the territory. "Don't you dare die," she whispered, checking his pulse. Still there, but weak. "Step away from the Alpha," Raziel commanded. "He's been poisoned," Senna said, her voice stronger than it had been in months. "Nightshade and silver. If you move him wrong, it'll spread faster." "How could you possibly—" "There's no time. Get the healer, now, and nobody else drinks or eats anything." The throne room erupted in chaos, but all Senna could focus on was Theron's face. Even poisoned, he was beautiful. Dark hair falling across his forehead, sharp cheekbones, lips that had spoken her rejection without knowing it. Kaya howled in anguish, desperate to save their mate. The urge to shift, to let her wolf's healing abilities help him, was overwhelming. But if she shifted, everyone would smell her true scent. They'd know she was his rejected mate. "Please," she whispered, holding him closer. "Please hold on." His eyes fluttered open for just a moment, silver meeting brown, and his lips moved. She leaned closer. "You smell like home," he murmured before losing consciousness again. Then she noticed it. Blood on Lady Isolde's shoes. Fresh blood that smelled like yesterday's dead challenger, who had been Isolde's brother. The palace's medical wing erupted in controlled chaos as healers swarmed the unconscious Alpha King. Senna found herself pushed aside, forgotten, exactly where she preferred. But she couldn't leave. Not when she could see what others were missing. "His breathing is too shallow," Elder Nix, the head healer, muttered. "This poison, I've never seen anything like it." Senna bit her tongue. She had seen it. Her grandmother had shown her this exact combination before she died. A recipe from the old wars, designed specifically to kill alpha bloodlines. "Where's that servant?" Raziel's voice boomed. "The one who caught him?" Senna tried to shrink into the shadows, but Raziel's hand found her shoulder. "You knew it was poison before anyone else. Explain." "I grew up near the Deadlands," she lied quickly. "My grandmother taught me to recognize poisonous plants by smell." "Convenient," Lady Isolde said, having talked her way into the medical wing. "A servant who just happens to know about rare poisons?" "Perhaps she's the poisoner," suggested Lady Morrigan. Before Senna could defend herself, Theron convulsed on the bed. Black veins spread up his neck like spider webs. "He's shifting," Elder Nix cried. "The poison is forcing a shift, but if he transforms now, it'll tear him apart from the inside," Senna finished without thinking. "And you know this how?" Raziel demanded. "Does it matter?" a voice interjected. Tam, another servant and her only friend here, stood in the doorway. "She's right, isn't she?" Theron's body contorted, bones cracking, his fingers elongated into claws, then snapped back to human form. "Moonflower extract," Senna blurted, "mixed with wolfsbane and the blood of his true mate." The room went silent. His true mate? Lady Isolde laughed coldly. The Alpha King famously rejected his mate bond months ago. He announced it publicly. Senna's heart clenched. Then someone who loves him truly. Sometimes that's enough. I'll do it. Lady Morrigan stepped forward. You've been throwing yourself at him for years. Raziel cut her off. That's not love. That's ambition. As they argued, Senna noticed the black veins were avoiding one area, a spot over his heart. The same spot that burned on her own chest since rejection night. We need to act now, Elder Nyx announced. I'll prepare the moonflower extract. As for the blood, we'll try everyone. Everyone? Lord Caspian, Isolde's father, had arrived. Surely not the servants. Our wolves too. Commander Lyra of the Royal Guard entered, her scarred face grim. If there's even a chance one could save our king. This is ridiculous, Caspian snarled. My daughter should go first. A crash interrupted. Theron had convulsed so violently he'd fallen from the bed. Senna moved instinctively, catching his head. The moment her skin touched his, the black veins retreated slightly. Everyone saw it. You, Raziel breathed. When you touch him, it helps. Why? I don't know, she stammered. The servant will give blood first, Commander Lyra decided. This is outrageous, Lord Caspian roared. Your daughter who had blood on her shoes, Senna said quietly. The room froze. What did you say? Commander Lyra's voice was deadly soft. Senna looked at Lady Isolde, whose face had gone pale. When the Alpha King collapsed, she had fresh blood on her shoes. It smelled like yesterday's challenger, her brother. The room erupted. Guards surrounded Isolde. You're lying, she snarled. Is that why you're here? Commander Lyra asked coldly. To avenge your brother? He challenged fairly, Caspian protested. So you poisoned him? Raziel's voice was dangerous. As they argued, Senna felt Theron's temperature spike. Without thinking, she pressed her wrist to his lips, letting him inhale her scent. The black veins retreated further. Elder Nyx returned with silvery liquid. The moonflower extract. Now we need the blood. I didn't poison him alone, Isolde declared triumphantly. There are others. Pack members you trust. Who? Raziel grabbed her throat. Kill me and you'll never know, Isolde gasped. But I'll make you a deal. Let my father and me leave safely and I'll tell you. We don't negotiate with traitors, Commander Lyra snarled. Then your king dies, Isolde said. Because even if you cure the poison, they'll try again. Theron's body seized violently. Elder Nyx tried to force the extract down his throat, but he couldn't swallow. We're losing him, the healer said desperately. Senna made a decision. She bit into her wrist and pressed it to Theron's lips. The moment her blood touched his tongue, his body went rigid. The black veins vanished entirely. His breathing steadied. His eyes snapped open, pure silver and completely feral. Mate, he growled, more wolf than man. The word echoed like thunder. Everyone froze. No, Senna whispered, trying to pull away, but his hand caught her wrist with alpha strength. You rejected... Mate! Theron snarled louder, canines extending. Your Majesty, Raziel said carefully, you need to calm down. You've been poisoned. Theron's head snapped toward his beta with a vicious growl. His grip on Senna tightened, pulling her closer. Don't, she pleaded quietly. You rejected me. You can't take it back. Something in her words penetrated. Theron blinked, confusion replacing aggression. What? Then his eyes rolled back, and he collapsed into what looked like normal sleep. Seize her, Lord Caspian commanded. She's bewitched our king. Stand down, Commander Lyra countered. No one touches her. She's the Alpha King's true mate, Lady Morrigan said, voice dripping venom. The one he publicly rejected. Which makes her presence here illegal, Caspian added. Pack law states rejected mates must leave the territory or face execution. She just saved the king's life. Tam stepped forward bravely. The law is the law, Caspian insisted. Unless the king revokes his rejection. But he was quite clear about never accepting a fate-chosen mate. The servant stays, Raziel decided. Her blood saved him. We might need more. Then she should be in chains, Caspian demanded. As they argued, Senna noticed Isolde smiling, not the desperate smile of the caught, but satisfaction. The sunrise, Isolde said suddenly. You have until sunrise to decide what to do with your rejected Omega. After that, the pack members involved in this conspiracy might take matters into their own hands. Are you threatening us? Commander Lyra snarled. I'm giving you a timeline, Isolde replied. Save your king and lose your pack, or sacrifice the Omega and keep the peace. Howls erupted outside, dozens of them. The palace was surrounded. What did you do? Raziel demanded. I gave those tired of the king's arrogance a signal, Isolde said. They know he's weakened. They know his rejected mate is here, and they know pack law demands her death. The lights went out. Emergency runes flickered to life, casting everything in red. In the distance, fighting had begun, and Senna was at the center of it all. The medical wing's emergency runes cast crimson shadows as battle sounds echoed through the palace. Senna pressed against the wall, trying to become invisible while chaos erupted. How many? Commander Lyra barked at a blood-covered guard. At least 40. They're not trying to breach. They're already inside. Pack members we've known for years are turning traitors, Raziel snarled. You'll stay here and protect the king, Lyra ordered. That's an order, Beta. Through the window, Senna could see wolves fighting below, but something was wrong. The rebels weren't trying to win. They were herding the loyal guards away. It's a distraction, she whispered. Everyone turned to stare. Explain, Commander Lyra demanded. They're not trying to take the palace. They're pushing your forces east, away from here. Why would they? Raziel's eyes widened. The king is vulnerable. They don't need to get to him. Lady Isolde laughed from where she was chained. They just need her. Kill the rejected Omega, and the king dies too. That's how rejection works when blood has been shared. Elder Nyx went pale. She's right. Now that her blood is in his system, if she dies within the next moon cycle. He dies with her, Raziel finished. You planned for her to save him. Actually, that was luck, Isolde admitted. We thought we'd have to force her to reveal herself another way. Through her pain, Senna heard whispers. Her birthmark, a crescent moon on her shoulder, was burning with power, not pain. Moon touched, she gasped, remembering her grandmother's stories. The ability to break curses others consider unbreakable. Superstitious nonsense, Lord Caspian scoffed. The medical wing doors exploded. 3 wolves stalked through, eyes glowing red. Behind them walked Marcus, the alpha of Moonrise Pack who'd thrown her out the night she was rejected. Hello, little Omega, Marcus purred. Did you think you could hide forever? You know her? Raziel demanded, moving protectively in front of Theron. Know her? I raised her, took her in when her parents died. And how did she repay me? By trying to seduce the Alpha King. That's not what happened, Senna protested. No? Then why did you run? Why abandon your pack? Because you threw me out. The moment you learned I'd been rejected, you said I was worthless. You gave me 1 hour to leave or you'd kill me. Pack law says the rejected mate has 3 days, Commander Lyra interrupted coldly. Marcus's eyes narrowed. She was a danger. Rejected Omegas go feral. I never even spoke to him, He didn't know I existed. He rejected the concept of having a mate, not me. Semantics, Marcus waved dismissively. You're here illegally. And now you've contaminated the Alpha King with your tainted blood. Over my dead body, Raziel growled, shifting partially. That can be arranged. Marcus snapped his fingers, and more wolves poured in, faces from Moonrise Pack. I've made a deal with Lord Caspian. Help put his daughter on the throne, and he'll give me trading rights. You're working together? Commander Lyra snarled. For the good of all packs, Caspian said smoothly. A king who rejects sacred bonds cannot lead. The curse is proof. So you'll murder him? We'll let nature take its course, Marcus corrected. Once the Omega is dead, if the king dies, it's the moon goddess's will. Senna felt Kaya rising, tired of running, tired of being blamed. You want me? She heard herself say. Fine. But not here, not near him. Senna, no, Tam protested. Take me to the throne room, she continued. Execute me publicly if you must. Marcus studied her. How noble. The rejected Omega, sacrificing herself. Wait, a weak voice croaked. Theron was struggling to sit up. What? Execution? Your Majesty. Raziel rushed to support him. Your rejected mate saved your life, Lady Isolde supplied, and now she must die for it. Pack law. Theron's gaze found Senna, confusion and recognition flickering. You're... nobody, Senna said quickly. Liar, he breathed. I remember your scent. From that night. When I said... His face paled. Oh, moon goddess, what did I do? You rejected your mate bond, Marcus supplied coldly, publicly, and this Omega had the audacity to stay. I didn't know, Theron said, voice hollow. I was drunk, angry at my father. I rejected the concept, not... He looked at Senna with horror. Not you. Never you. Pretty words won't save her, Caspian interjected. Then I revoke it, Theron said immediately. Silence fell. You can't, Elder Nick said gently. A public rejection can only be revoked through the ancient trials. What trials? Trials that haven't been attempted in 300 years, Marcus laughed. 3 tests: strength, wisdom, and sacrifice. Tests designed to be impossible for Omegas. Then I'll take them, Senna said quietly. You'll die, Marcus stated. The trials were created for alphas, not Omegas. Maybe. But it would buy time. 3 days for you to find the other conspirators. Clever, Isolde admitted, but the trials require the Alpha King to participate too, to prove he's worthy, and in his current state. She was right. Theron could barely stand. I'll do it, he said anyway, forcing himself upright. I'll take the trials. Your Majesty, Elder Nix began, I made this mess. I'll fix it. The trials must begin at moonrise, Marcus said, pleased. 6 hours. If either participant fails any test, the Omega dies. And if the king dies during the trials? Commander Lyra asked. Then the kingdom gets a new ruler, Caspian said smoothly. Another explosion shook the palace, closer this time. They're breaking through, a guard reported. Let them come, Marcus said. Once the trials begin, all hostilities cease. Anyone who breaks that law forfeits their life. Convenient, Raziel snarled. I accept the trials, Senna said formally. On one condition. You're hardly in a position? Aren't I? Kill me now, and the king dies. Your plans fall apart. Marcus's jaw tightened. What condition? If I survive the first trial, you tell us who else is involved. Agreed, Isolde said before Marcus could refuse. If you survive? Which you won't. The fighting outside suddenly stopped. Word of the trials had spread. 6 hours, Marcus said, leaving. Don't be late, little Omega. As they filed out, Theron caught Senna's arm. Why? He asked. Why save me? Because the pack needs its king, she replied, removing her arm, and because I'm not worthless. She turned to leave, but his next words stopped her. I dreamed about you. For months. A woman in shadows, smelling of wildflowers and rain. Senna didn't turn. 6 hours, Your Majesty. Rest while you can. As she walked away, she heard him whisper, I'm sorry. But sorry wouldn't save either of them now. 6 hours passed like heartbeats. Senna stood in the abandoned servants' quarters, staring at her reflection. She looked exactly like what she was. Exhausted, underfed, completely unprepared for trials designed to kill. You don't have to do this, Tam said from the doorway. Name another way. Run. Both of you. A king who abandons his pack isn't worthy of being king, and I'm tired of running. Elder Nyx entered carrying a leather satchel. The first trial is strength. You'll face Victor the Bone Crusher, the previous king's champion. Senna's heart sank. Victor had killed 30 challengers. However, Nyx pulled out a vial. The ancient laws say nothing about preparation. Wolf's Bane concentrate with moonflower. It won't give you strength, but it'll dampen pain. Why help me? I was there when you were born. Your mother was my apprentice. She said you were born under the blood moon eclipse, marked by the goddess herself. Nyx gestured to Senna's birthmark. That mark means something. Your wolf, Kaya. Trust her, even if it means revealing what you've hidden. The throne room had been transformed into an arena. Sand covered the marble, containment runes glowed on the walls. Hundreds of pack members filled the galleries. Senna entered wearing the traditional white tunic that would show every drop of blood. Across from her stood Victor, 7 feet of scarred muscle. But it was Theron who drew her attention. He stood on the royal platform, wearing white already spotted with blood from torn IV lines. His face was pale but determined. The first trial, Marcus announced, enjoying his role, is strength. The Omega must survive 5 minutes with the champion. No shifting, no weapons. That's not traditional, Commander Lyra protested. Modified given the Omega's disadvantage, Caspian interrupted smoothly. Senna understood. First blood would mean a single cut could end it. 5 minutes meant Victor could torture her slowly. The Alpha must remain standing throughout, Marcus added, smiling coldly at Theron, without assistance. Begin, Marcus commanded. Victor moved impossibly fast, his fist connected with her ribs, sending her flying. The crowd roared. Get up! Kaya snarled. Move! Senna rolled as Victor's boot stomped where her head had been. She threw sand at his eyes. Clever Omega, he rumbled, but not enough. He grabbed her throat, lifting her. In her peripheral vision, she saw Theron step forward, then force himself to stop. Let me out, Kaya begged. No shifting. I don't need to shift to help. Trust us. With no choice, Senna stopped fighting her wolf's instincts. Instead of pulling away, she went limp, sliding through his grasp. As she dropped, she bit his wrist hard. Victor roared, backhanding her across the arena. But she landed on her feet, Kaya guiding her. 2 minutes! Victor charged. Senna dropped low, sliding between his legs, kicking his bad knee. He stumbled, catching her ankle. 4 minutes! 1 more minute. Victor came at her with brutal efficiency. She couldn't dodge, so she didn't try. She ran straight at him, surprising him. His grab missed center mass, catching her tunic, tearing it to reveal whip scars on her back. The crowd went silent. Omega disciplined scars, Elder Nyx's voice carried. given to young wolves who can't shift on command. Victor hesitated. Senna used his weight to flip him. 5 minutes. She'd done it. But Theron collapsed, knees hitting the platform. The Alpha King has failed, Caspian began. The trial was to remain standing, Commander Lyra interrupted. 5 minutes are over. He can kneel now. Marcus raged but had to announce both participants completed the first trial. As agreed, the conspirators. A crossbow bolt whistled toward Senna's heart. Theron moved with alpha speed despite his weakness, taking the bolt in his shoulder. He collapsed into her, blood soaking her tunic. Who dared break the trial peace? Commander Lyra roared. The archer was already dead. Suicide poison. Why save me? Senna pressed on his wound. His silver eyes met hers. Because I remember everything. The festival, your scent, the hope in your eyes dying when I rejected our bond. I was a coward. Save your strength. The second trial is tomorrow. Wisdom. In my study. Bottom drawer. Locked. The key is... His eyes rolled back. Someone help him. As healers rushed forward, Marcus said coldly, second trial at sunset tomorrow. If the Alpha dies, the Omega's life is mine. The Alpha King's study felt like a tomb at 3 a.m. Senna searched for what Theron had mentioned, finding a children's book, The Lonely Wolf Prince, with a key hidden inside. The locked drawer contained Theron's letter from the night of the festival. I met her tonight. My mate. She smells like wildflowers after rain. When our eyes met, I knew my life had changed. But I'm a coward. Father threatens to disown me if I don't mate properly. How can I ask her to enter this world of betrayal? So I rejected the bond. The moment the words left my mouth, I felt something tear inside me. I've made a terrible mistake. Beneath were investigation files. Theron had been investigating the conspiracy for months. One name made her blood freeze. Vera, the head servant who'd been poisoning his food slowly to weaken him. A floorboard creaked. Well. Vera stood in the doorway with a blade. The little Omega playing detective. You've been poisoning him. Since his father died. Small doses of wolfsbane in his tea. Just enough to make him irritable, prone to bad decisions. Like rejecting his mate. You manipulated. We gave him a push. Vera lunged. Senna dodged, but the blade sliced her ribs. She threw a bookend, missing. Did you know rejecting a true mate bond might trigger the curse? We hoped. An Alpha King rejecting the moon goddess's gift might anger her enough to punish all wolves. You cursed innocent wolves to overthrow one king? To reshape the hierarchy. No more alphas lording over omegas. Vera attacked again. Senna tripped, but found a letter opener under the desk. She drove it into Vera's thigh. The window exploded. Raziel in wolf form landed between them, jaws closing on Vera's arm. Arrest her, Commander Lyra ordered, entering with guards. As they dragged Vera away, she laughed. Tomorrow's trial will break your Omega. Marcus has made sure of it. Lyra examined Senna's wounds. These need healing. The second trial? What is it? 3 riddles, Raziel answered. But if Marcus controls it, he'll choose impossible ones. You need healing and rest. The king is stable. Elder Nyx appeared. Awake even, demanding to see you. Theron was propped up in bed, pale but alert. You're hurt, were his first words. So are you. I found your letter. His eyes widened. You weren't supposed to. Why didn't you fight for us? Because I'm a coward. Because I convinced myself you'd be better off without being my mate. And now? Now I'm dying. The poison's done something to my wolf. Complete the trials. True mate bonds have healing properties. You want me to complete them to save you? No. To prove you're not worthless. That you never were. His grip tightened. The curse isn't just punishment. It's tied to my rejection. Every wolf who loses the ability to shift, it happens when they deny their true nature. So if we restore our bond, the curse might break. Bells rang. Alarm bells. Commander Lyra burst in. The Northern Peaks Pack is here. They're demanding the trials be moved to noon. They can't. They can, if Pack Alphas agree. Marcus has been busy. 6 hours to prepare, Senna said. Try the archives, Elder Nick suggested. The original riddles should be there. As Senna left, Theron called out. That night, you wore a silver pendant, a crescent moon. She touched her neck. She'd sold it months ago. You were beautiful. You are beautiful. I was just too blind to see. The archives were a labyrinth. With 4 hours left, Senna had found nothing useful. You're approaching this wrong. Tam emerged from shadows with Minerva, Isolde's younger sister. Why should I trust you? Senna asked Minerva. Because I know Marcus's plan. She pulled out a journal. The riddles will be personal, about your past, your parents, things only someone watching you would know. That's violation of the trial's purpose. But there's a clause. Minerva showed an ancient text, the right of reflection. For each riddle, you can demand the questioner answer one in return. 3 hours left. There's more, Tam said. The third trial, sacrifice. You'll have to choose between saving Theron and keeping your wolf. What? Dark magic, Minerva whispered. A witch will sever your wolf spirit. You'd live as a human forever. Or keep your wolf and watch Theron die. 2 hours left. In the prayer room, Elder Nyx was at the altar. Your birthmark, Nyx said. May I see it? The crescent moon on Senna's shoulder glowed in the moonlight. You're moon-touched. Born during the blood moon eclipse, they have deeper connection to the goddess, ability to see truth, speak with her authority, break unbreakable curses. 1 hour left. Theron appeared at her door, leaning heavily on the frame. You shouldn't be up. I had to tell you. If you make it to the third trial, don't sacrifice Kaya for me. You don't get to forbid me anything. I'm asking. The pack needs its true queen whole. He pulled out her silver pendant. I bought this from the merchant. Been carrying it 2 months. You knew I was here? Suspected. You're sent. Masked, but there. I thought I was imagining it. The final bell rang. After this, she called back. If we survive, we need to talk. Really talk. I'd like that. The throne room doors loomed. Inside, Marcus waited with corrupted riddles. But Senna had weapons, friends, the right of reflection, and moon-touched blood. The second trial was about to begin. 3 circles of silver dust marked the trial grounds. Marcus stood in black robes, Theron barely upright, and Senna between them. 3 riddles, Marcus announced. For each failure, a price. First riddle. On the night of your first shift, alone in the forest, what was the first word you spoke after transforming back? Senna's blood chilled. She'd been alone that night. I invoke the right of reflection. Gasps echoed. Marcus's smile faltered. Answer my return riddle or your question is void, Senna said. The night you became Alpha of Moonrise Pack, you didn't win through combat. What was the name of the wolf you poisoned? Marcus went rigid. That's not... Answer or forfeit. Through gritted teeth, Garrett. Garrett Swiftclaw, you put hemlock in his wine. She turned to her riddle. My first word was why, because I wanted to know why the goddess made me an Omega. The circles flared with light. Truth confirmed. Second riddle. Your parents didn't die in a random raid. Name the alpha who ordered their deaths. I invoke the right of reflection. You joined this conspiracy for revenge. What did the old king do to your true mate? Marcus's mask cracked. He killed her, Elena, because she was an Omega who refused his advances. The pieces clicked. Theron's father ordered my parents killed because they wouldn't give him their moon-touched daughter. The circles blazed again. Wait. Minerva stepped forward. Marcus was banished from Moonrise Pack this morning. Packless wolves can't oversee trials. I'll give the third riddle, Theron said, stepping forward despite his weakness. He looked directly at Senna. What is the one thing I fear more than death? This wasn't about facts. It was about understanding him. Living without being truly seen. You fear being only the crown, never yourself? You fear becoming your father. Most of all, you fear you've broken something unfixable. That I'll complete these trials from duty, not choice. Yes, he whispered, tears unhidden. If I restore our bond, Senna announced, it won't be from fate or duty. It will be because I choose to forgive, because I choose to see you, not the king who rejected me, but the man who took a crossbow bolt for me. The second trial is complete, Elder Nix announced. Arrest Lord Caspian and Marcus, Commander Lyra ordered. Marcus laughed wildly. The third trial remains. The witch is ready. Lady Isolde stood free, shattering a black crystal. Dark magic exploded through the room. Senna felt Kaya being torn away. The trial of sacrifice. Release your wolf willingly or watch the king die. 60 seconds. Senna writhed, seeing Kaya's form being pulled into visibility, a silver wolf with violet eyes. Don't let go, Kaya pleaded. But the birthmark burned with power, not pain. Moon-touched, able to break unbreakable curses. 30 seconds. Instead of fighting, Senna pulled the dark magic into herself. What are you doing? Isolde shrieked. I'm moon-touched. You're using corrupted moon magic. The birthmark erupted with silver light, purifying the dark magic. I choose neither option. I invoke the goddess's reclamation. The black magic turned silver-white. Throughout the room, cursed wolves began shifting naturally again. 10 seconds. Senna reached Theron. The real sacrifice is my anger, my right to never forgive. The magic exploded outward as pure moonlight. In its wake, something rebuilt. Not the old bond, but something new. Stronger. Chosen. I choose to forgive, she said. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. Isolde raised another crystal, but her own corrupted magic consumed her, turning her to ash. Silence fell except for transforming wolves, the curse breaking everywhere. The trials are complete, Elder Nix announced through tears. Theron fell to his knees. I'm sorry. So sorry. I know, we have work ahead. This doesn't fix everything. But it's a start. It's a choice we'll make daily. Will you accept your place as our queen? Commander Lyra asked. As Luna, Senna corrected, ruling beside him as equals. The age of Alphas dominating Omegas ends now. Dawn broke as transformation began, not just of laws, but understanding. Wolves trapped for months shifted freely. The conspiracy's grievances were revealed. They weren't wrong, Senna told Theron on the balcony. The hierarchy was cruel. It will change. With you beside me. Beside you. Not behind. Tell me something I don't know about you, he said. I hate mornings. Trained myself to wake early because Omegas got punished for sleeping in. I'll make sure you never... Not special treatment. Understanding. Then teach me. Her birthmark glowed, the crescent becoming a full moon. Moon touched, fully recognized, Elder Nix said. First in 300 years. Things will change, Senna said. Really change. Old hierarchies, Omega treatment, it ends. Together? Theron asked. Together. But first, you need a week of healing. And I need to learn to be Luna after scrubbing floors. You were never just scrubbing floors, Raziel said. You know this palace, these people, better than any noble-born Luna. Marcus requests to speak with you, a guard announced. Tomorrow, Senna decided. Today is for healing. As the sun rose fully, Senna felt the weight of everything. No longer a rejected Omega hiding, but moon-touched Luna, catalyst for change. Kaya? She asked internally. Here, always. We made the right choice. Forgiveness for our peace, not his. Theron squeezed her hand gently. Through their new bond, she felt his emotions. Gratitude, love, patience. 6 months later, the Summit of Pax convened. Omegas sat as equals at the high table. The proposition, Senna announced, crown catching light, is eliminating forced matings based on rank. Madness, Alpha Roth protested. My mate is Omega-born and moon-touched, Theron interrupted. Our future pups will carry both traits. Strength isn't just alpha blood. Your mate who rejected you, someone called. Yes, my greatest mistake and lesson. How many of us have done the same? Hands rose for the vote. Not all, but enough. Another law reformed. In the gardens, Marcus sat under guard, not executed but serving, learning alongside Omegas. Luna, he acknowledged. How are your studies? Enlightening. Elder Nyx teaches true history, things previous alphas buried. The medical wing showed Minerva working as Nyx's apprentice. We've isolated the component in your blood that broke the curse. Evening came. In their shared quarters, Theron reviewed the Omega Education Initiative. How was your day? He asked, embracing her. Productive. Yours? Better now. They'd rebuilt trust through actions. The new bond hummed between them, chosen, therefore stronger. There's something else, Theron said. The sanctuary for rejected wolves you mentioned. It's ready. He handed her a key. She kissed him, pouring gratitude into it. I love you, she said, and I love you. My mate, my equal, my Luna. Standing on the balcony where she once hid in shadows, Senna now stood in moonlight, complete. Her hand rested on her stomach where new life grew, the future they were building. The rejected Omega who saved the Alpha King through courage, wisdom, and choosing forgiveness. Their story was just beginning, built on choice, justice, and love. In the distance, wolves howled in celebration. The curse was broken. The Omega had become Luna, changing everything.